Today I'm going to share with you how to create this graffiti look on any kind of notebook. I got this notebook at the New Media Expo as a promotional thing from WordPress, and I'm going to show you how to take any notebook and turn it into a really fun custom notebook. So here you can see I'm taking some gesso and just a wide brush and covering the whole cover of the notebook with the gesso. You might need to do 2 coats if the image still shows through. Let that dry all the way, and then take a blending palette from Tombow, and you're going to select maybe like 5 colors of markers and color those onto the blending palette. Next, you're going to take your spray bottle and you're going to spritz that to get it wet. Now, I apologize for the angle of the camera here. I was doing a two camera shot and my overhead camera did not record. So I had to reformat everything and fix it. So that's what happened there. So once you have your blending palette spritzed with water, you're going to press your notebook into the blending palette to transfer the color onto the gesso. Now, the gesso, the more water you put, the fainter it's going to be. So I put a little too much water on that first blending palette. So here I'm going to do it a second time with just 1 light spritz of water, and then again press the covers of the notebook into the ink that is there on the blending palette. Now you can tap your notebook or whatever it is on the table to make those drips be very dramatic and make the drips move faster. And then once you like the way it looks, you can use a heat gun to dry it quickly so that everything sets the way that you like it. So I really like the way this color turned out. Then I decided I wanted some more layers, so I'm going to use some acrylic pigment eyes ink. This is a blend of acrylic ink or pigment ink and acrylic paint. It's got properties of both. It comes in a glass bottle with an eyedropper, and here I'm just kind of splattering it onto my surface, and then I'm tapping on different sides of my notebook onto the table so that I can get those drips to kind of move and go in different directions. So I want this to be kind of a fluid thing. I'm trying to spread out the ink in an interesting drippy way, trying to mimic the look of spray paint or of graffiti. So after I have my neon gentian color in there, I'm adding some of the topaz blue eyes ink, and that one has some iridescent qualities to it. Now, after I've let the ink dry a little bit, I just blotted the excess off because I like the way that the outline of the drips when they dry, I like the way that looks. Next, I have this adorable unicorn stamp from Sweet Stamp Shop, and I put that on an acrylic block, and I'm using Color Box's archival dye ink in Wicked Black to stamp that image all over to make an all over unicorn pattern. You can do this with any stamp. You're just going to repeat the pattern and kind of stagger it from each column to the next column. Then I used a heat gun to dry it just because there's so many layers of ink and things on here. I wanted to make sure that that archival dye ink was dry. Next, I took some Colorbox archival chalk ink and stamped a sentiment over top of all those little unicorns. And then I went in with some archival dye ink and lilac and added some little cloud stamps. Then I used a Tombow marker to add some just kind of scribble word graffiti there for another layer. And next I trimmed about 2-inch strips from the designer foils and set those aside. Those are the Clearsnap designer foils. I used this stylus and tip set to ink the edges of my notebook. And then on the backs of those foil strips, I used the wide end of the Tombow Mono multi-glue to apply glue all over the back. You want to let that dry. Basically, the glue dries tacky. So this almost makes the foil that is on the foil sheets like a sticker. So you're just going to kind of randomly press that all over your notebook cover. It might cover some of your unicorns. That's totally okay because you're still going to get the unicorn pattern effect. Next, I took some gold designer foils and a gold designer foils and a bone folder, and then I use that bone folder to really burnish and press that foil into the book cover so it's really stuck to the gesso and all of the elements under there. Then I added a label sticker and I stamped that, and I didn't like how dark the stamping came out. I just used the archival dye ink and some typewriter style stamps. So I went in with a marker later, the bullet end of those Tombow dual brush markers, and went right over those words, and then I also added some doodling there, as you can see. And it's this really fun, like graffiti, almost a little bit 80s effect notebook. And you could use this for an art journal or even just as a notebook. Feel free to do this on any promotional notebook you get, or any book. Like, you can even do it to a catalog if you want to make it into an art journal. Thanks so much for stopping by. Please click that link to subscribe. And down in the description, if you're still here in the end of April of 2015, there is a link to a blog hop that we're doing right now. So be sure to go and head to that. Talk to you soon. Bye.